Welcome to another edition of the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Live from Soul 21 retail store located in Northwest Mall, Houston, Texas. I'm your host as usual every week. You know me worldwide by now as T.G. Ryans. And I'm joined in studio by my wonderful, wonderful co-hosts, man. Two of the most dynamic men in the streets of Houston, Texas. They gonna tell you like it is every single week when you listen to us. Malik Jackson and Arthur Jenkins.
Malik Jackson, CEO of Malik Fragrances.
Arthur Jenkins, what's going on, everybody?
Ladies and gentlemen all over the world, from Baltimore, as you heard right now, probably within the last week or so, maybe a month or so, to the Trayvon Martin situation, to just your day-to-day, daily news situations that you're lucky to hear about. There is a war in the streets, whether you want to believe it or not. Each and every day from urban America, households here in Houston, Texas, to households across the other parts of the country, they're dealing with day-to-day wars. You know about the highly publicized wars from the past, like your Revolutionary Wars and you know, Pearl Harbors and your Battle of Santa Ana and all these things that they teach us about in our history books. But what about the wars that's going on from Houston, Texas to the slums of Chicago and New York City and New Jersey? What about those wars that you don't hear about on a day-to-day basis? What are the solutions to those wars? Those wars that I just talked about, that you hear about and that you read about and that you see on documentaries on TV shows and TV networks like PBS, was short-term, very, very short-term, world-famous wars that have come and gone. But what about the wars in the streets that go on for a day-to-day basis? The wars in the streets that kids have to deal with when they try to leave home and just go get an education, and they have to duck bullets flying each and every day. What about the people that have to get up and go to work every day, and going outside to their car is a battleground in itself? What about those wars? What about the wars that are going on between police and civilized human beings out there that you've been hearing about in the world? What about those wars? Well, we're going to bring it to you tonight. We're going to talk about that tonight on the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you our topic of discussion tonight: war in the streets. And I'm going to start right here with one of these dynamic co-hosts that I have right here sitting next to me, Malik Jackson.
All right. The famous short-term historical wars was like, like you take with World War II, you take the Alamo, wars like that. And, compared to the streets and what's going on in the streets, I mean, you have an everyday war in the streets. You never know, walking out your door. I mean, take California, for instance, the Bloods and Crips, you know what I'm saying? You got to stay within your own neighborhood. You got to stay armed. At all seconds, at all costs, your life. So these street wars compared to the everyday war, for historical wars, it's kind of in the same type of warfare, because at once upon a time, you had the Vietnam War. And, the Vietnam War was like, hey, the Chinese was armed at all times, and they was guerrilla warfare, toward the Americans. So, it was like, hey, every villager, every person had a gun, a pistol, and hey, you the enemy. So, it's like the streets now, you know what I'm saying? It's colors, but it's more of, it was colors than more of just, a person that, being a human, when the Vietnam War was more of a blue and red thing, but it was still you being alert. And it's more, to me, it was more captivating and more real because, you drive down the street and everybody know you've seen it during the 80s, in the 90s, of the killings, of the fighting, of the, hey, people say staying ammunition, from AK-47s, when Easy them brung the submachine Uzi, this was real happening on street wars. So every day in America is a street war, and it just trickled down from one state to the next. So being street wars is, compared to, Vietnam, compared to World War II, compared to Iraqi war. Hey man, these street wars is much serious than that. You know.
Yeah, those street wars that we have going on now that you hear about are much more serious to me than the historical wars, because the historical wars were just between like one or two groups or something like that. You got people in neighborhoods where the whole neighborhood is at war. You got whole cities at war and whole states at war. So the historical wars to me were kind of lightweight in comparison to these day-to-day wars that kids, teenagers, young adults, and adults, and even senior citizens go through on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to go to you, Arthur Jenkins. I'm going to ask you the same question. What's the deal with these wars that's going on in the streets?
These wars in the streets, wow. Just to kind of piggyback off of you and Mr. Jackson here, I would say that let's take, for instance, wars that have happened, not so much in the street, but wars that happen in the world. Let's take the Civil War, for instance, North versus South. You know what I'm saying? Supposedly about slavery, which I think not. It was more about economics and economic control. I would say let's go to World War II. Before Hitler and the Germans started to exterminate the Jews, they had a propaganda campaign for over a year, against the Jews. And propaganda is information, especially biased information, which is misleading in nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view for somebody's side. And then after they did this for over a year or so, then they went and started exterminating the Jews and killing them. But it was easier because people started accepting because of how they viewed the Jews because of the propaganda campaign. Now, y'all hear my voice saying, what is he talking about? I'm going to tell you. The link is now we go to the war in the streets, whether it's gang banging or political freedom and stuff like this here. You're fighting a war seemingly on a smaller scale, but it's not, because it's about you. The thing is, what are you truly fighting for? You have been taught to fight by the government and the people above you. But they tell you they fight was for this and your fight is for crap. Now, as far as this gang banging, what are you fighting for? You're fighting for territory, which is what? You want to try to bring in money. You fight for economics. This is what you fight for, whether you know it or not. Some of y'all just fighting to be fighting because y'all don't know what y'all fighting for. You just out here doing something to be doing, and that's the truth, and y'all know it. But a lot of this stuff is propaganda and political, and this is also seeing what has happened in the world in history. You're starting to see it repeat itself here in the streets of America.
Yeah, good answer. You're starting to see it repeat itself, on a day-to-day basis. It's like they're taking some of the parts from the historical wars and they're using that. They're using some of the techniques, some of the war tactics, and bringing it right to the streets, man. Now, I'm going to ask you, Malik Jackson, who you think is instigating a lot of these wars in the streets? Would you say that it's drug dealers? Would you say that it's just neighborhood gangs? Or would you say that it's law enforcement? Or would you say that it's just tension between just the local residents?
It's always somebody in the middle of things that's instigating. And if you're not having any trouble, gangs, I don't think they instigate to trying to kill each other. I think, once they have a truce and, nobody tries to go to the neighborhood and just kill one another unless somebody get hit, then they, retaliate. But I think if there's no crime going, the people that, to me, that's probably instigating this, sometimes could be the police, to do something, or sometimes it could be a outsider that want to be a part of something and go do something, and then there it is, blaming somebody else. So it's always that instigator that want to keep things going, and he's pushed behind somebody that's in a higher power to go do this. So the instigator is always somebody that you don't know, and somebody that you don't know, and somebody that's always causing trouble, and who they can always get to be a flunky. Them be the instigator. Instigator always a flunky. Somebody can put the key in the back and he can go make it, go make it happen. So I don't think the people these people that's, that's surrounded that in these, like I said, street gangs, or a person in, that's in the political, you can say the political gang too, I don't think they're trying to really just go at each other's throat and trying to really hurt each other. But once that instigator come in the, in the picture, and the news too, the news can be an instigator, for you to go out and start trouble, because if there's nothing that's really causing any confusion or conflict, then the people don't want, they need something to keep captivating off of. So the news gonna always, throw their 2 bits and pieces in. But the thing it is that the instigator is someone you could always wire up. You put that key in their back, and somebody who's always a flunky and a nobody. The one who always starts is a nobody. Nobody knows this person that starts the things. But all you know is wars that started behind these people. Look at what happened in the Trojan War. It was started behind a woman. You know what I'm saying? The lady, she married a guy. Okay. They conflicted while they was getting along with each other. They was being allies. But he came in, the younger brother, didn't have no means of anything, but he just found his way of seducing women. But his brother, who really was the fighter, the one who controlled everything, he had to, protect his younger brother, which his younger brother once instigated the fight. So it's always the person, the weaker one, the person who they can put a key in their back, like I said, they can wire up, who they can make it do anything. And the newscast is always been a big instigator, and also the police. So the people who started these wars are the people who I just named. And they keep these wars conflicting and keep going on and on and on and on. But what you have to do is understand that for you to not get caught up in things like this, you have to go to the instigator and stop going to the perpetrator,
Yeah, good answer. I have to agree with you, especially on the news part.
Oh, yeah.
I myself do believe that the news has been one of the hugest instigators that you had out there in the wars that's going on in these streets. Now, I'm going to go to Arthur Jenkins real quick. Arthur, we just heard from Malik about, who's instigating some of these wars in the streets that's currently going on. But what about some of those historical wars that we had going on? Who were instigating some of those wars? Was it the same people? Was it someone else? I mean, who was it?
True power you will not know. Power lies behind the throne. And you would have to understand that. You understand? So the people who are doing this, you don't know who they are. They pull the strings. We have a president of the United States. Well, we'd have to know politically the president, unfortunately, is just in office. He's a manager, he or she, so far, is a manager of somebody else's affairs. Who are somebody else? There are it's a lot of money and a lot of, policies being done behind the scenes. So this is why you have wars and stuff like this here in today's time. War is big business. Somebody makes money at war. And again, it goes back to propaganda. Somebody saying, hey, these people are bad people. We're going to give you all this information about these people. They bad people. They did this, they did that. So everybody now hates these people. So we're going to go over there and we're going to deal with them. Yeah, and everybody's ready to go to war. Well, aren't you kind of doing the same thing in these streets? You have gang leaders or whatever leaders, and they telling you, we're going to war with these people. They're our enemy. We're doing it. We're going to kill them. We ain't going to have no retribution when we're doing it. And you go to war for whatever. But the whole time, somebody is getting their pockets lined. Whether it's the person who's pushing the dope, whether it's the person who's pushing the guns, whether, whoever it is, they're pushing this here. How can you go to war for a neighborhood when you don't own a blade of grass in it? What kind of sense do that make? I never quite got that thinking, but this is how these things go, man. And you have to understand what's being given to you people. The media, anything you see on TV in the media, I will assume it's a lie from the jump or it has a severe slant to it. You understand? So they're going to show you where they need to go. You have to understand the music you listen to, the television programs you watch, all this stuff play a part of who you are. This is why it's called programming, people. Understand that. It's called programming for a reason. You are being programmed to understand certain things the way they want you to understand it and to do what they want you to do. You don't think that you are, but you are. You can say, hey, I'm talking out the side of my neck. You can, but can you prove me wrong? I think not. So most people have to understand true power. You will never know. You will never see. And if you try to go against true power, you will be eliminated. And before they eliminate, they want to discredit you. Because if you're discredited, that's probably worse than killing you. Because if I kill you, I kind of prove you right. But I want to discredit you. Make people think you're crazy. Ask Dave Chappelle what it feels like.
Well, I have to agree with you on that too, Mr. Jenkins. And when you said somebody's pockets get fat, it's actually the Fed. Not the Federal Bureau that people would think the FBI, but the Fed. They the ones who supply both of the war. Whoever go to war, they supply both of the people. They give guns to this here people. They give ammo this here. They stay neutral. So you got to pay for that. So no. What I'm saying is, you pay them. They get paid off of both parties.
Right. That's what the World Bank was about.
Yeah.
They supply money to both sides in the war, and what you don't realize is they supply money, so you got to pay that money back with interest. And when you can't make those payments, now on your resources.
So the people who owns everything are the people, because I'm going to ask you a question on this here, and this is thing about Warren, because we never see this. We never see a Jew punch a time clock, because we understand they are the ones who funded the wars. The Rothschilds, they the people who funded the wars, and they was over the banking system. So whenever you went into any type of political wars, they the ones got paid.
Well, I definitely cannot disagree with you on that.
Yes, sir.
But this is what you have to watch. And for us that are minorities and poor, just really pay attention to what you're doing. When you go into a store, look at the people that run that store and operate that store. Look at the people who come set up shop in your neighborhoods while you're spending their money. You understand? Pay attention to these type of things. This is why everybody comes set up shop in minority, especially black communities, because we love to give our money away. We can't hurry and give our money away. And when you don't have any economic power, you have nothing to fight with. Sorry.
So I believe the street wars that's going on is actually, like I say, I believe every war is about economic power. So the street wars that's going on, we fighting and killing each other, but it's not that we're fighting, killing each other. And going back to the thing I just want to make a statement on the Baltimore thing. When that thing happened, that is street wars that was going on, and it was tearing up the community. The reason why you don't tear up your community, and they said the Bloods and Crips came together, which was a good thing, but the Bloods and Crips supposed to automatically came together. You don't come together when it's a black-white issue, war. You come together because this is your community, and you are the only one responsible for cleaning it up, because no one cares when it's a war that's going on. And you got innocent children, you got innocent older people. So what we have to understand is that these street wars are very, very, very serious, because who get hurt in these street wars is really not the person that actually get hurt, that who they're after. It's always someone innocent.
Those historical wars of the past that are in all the textbooks and on all the publicized documentaries have nothing on the day-to-day wars that are really going on in the streets, from Houston, Texas to Chicago on a day-to-day basis. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you around the world, what do you think? Is there a war in the streets? And how do the war in the streets that we live through on a day-to-day basis right now, wherever you're living, how do they compare to the past wars that you know about that are highly publicized from world history? You're listening to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. T.G. Ryans, Malik Jackson, Arthur Jenkins, live discussing war in the streets. That's right. We believe that it's a true war in the streets. And it goes on day to day, from right here in Houston, Texas, where we're based at, to probably where you are, from here to New York City. There are day-to-day wars that are going on in the streets. And right now, we got some things that we want to get off our chest, man. We want to talk about some things right now, from what's been happening in Baltimore to way back in the past with the whole Rodney King riots. Gonna start right here with Malik Jackson. What do you have to say to these people?
Oh, man, that war with the Rodney King, I never forget. I remember that. I was, at home. I seen the riots down there, the wars that was going, the riot that was going on in the streets, and what they did, how the police beat. It was a war with the police down there at the time, and there's still the war on with a couple of states with the police. That was going on. But even with the like I said, Rodney King, even with the Trayvon Martin, it's a war on the street. Even with the guy that's, I don't know his name, but what happened here, in Houston not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, he went back to his car to try to get something. Hey, it was, these streets is something that I will always believe that they will always test you. If you out here, and they gonna always be some neighborhood wars and street wars are the most deadliest wars, because, hey man, you never know where you gonna be at or where you end up at. But the thing it is that You know, with going back to the Rodney King situation, going back to the situation with in Baltimore again, you know, how the policeman. You know, the police, they beat this guy and broke his spine, and he ended up, you know, dying. But it seems like with these wars and when things happen, that's the only time we come together. You know what I'm saying? And really, that's really crazy. Only we come together when it's a war. What about, let's come together on some good things so we can avoid the wars, you know? But I think wherever you have so-called poverty at, it will always be a war, because it's, first of all, it's war on poverty. The people are asking for jobs, they're asking for money, they're asking for such and such, and the people say, we ain't gonna give it to you. So what you think that's gonna do? That's gonna prevent a war. Because when they don't ask you, it's gonna be a drug war, because it's always economic. So that's what's been happening in the city of Baltimore. That would happen in the city of California. That's what's been happening even in cities, in all the urban places. That's why these wars and street wars been happening, because of economics, because the war on poverty. It's a war on poverty.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Arthur Jenkins. What's your rant on this whole topic, man?
Wow. Let me just say this. If you're at war, and a lot of us are at war, make no mistake about it, we're at war. Whether you're physically at war, mentally at war, spiritually at war, emotionally, you are at war. The question you have to ask yourself is, who am I fighting? Who is the enemy? Who is? What am I saying? I'm saying this, men and women, hear me good. We've seen riots happening lately from what we think is injustice, or what I would say is injustice in a lot of cases, and I'm really not against that. People say, hey, calm down or whatever. I have my own views on that. We won't get into all of that right now. But I want you to understand, we have to take place. Men, you are the provider and the protector of your families, of your communities. Ladies, you are the sustainers and the nurturers. First, we have to get back to place for things to go right. We have to assume our rightful places here. All right? But what has happened is we've been put into not really communities, because communities, when you own something, have some control. We're in neighborhoods. Okay? If you take rats and put them in a box, they'll mate. And they'll continue to mate and have offspring. But when that box starting to get full, you know what happens? The rats start to eat their young to make room. We are sacrificing our young people, and we don't even realize it, or we think it's cool. The people that are really trying to do some stuff, we call them coons. They cooning. You understand? Because they're out here trying to make a difference. Why? Because you speak proper English? Because you're trying to make something of your life that means something to you? So keeping it real is this BS we're doing out here in these streets? I don't think so. We need to reevaluate the way that we think. You understand? And we have to be prepared, because the war is coming whether you want to believe it or not. War is going to come. That's just the way of the world. But we have to stand and fight. And guess what? When there's war, guess what happens, people? There are casualties. There are casualties of war, I'm sorry to say. There's not a one history where there was not one casualty or one fatality. It's going to happen. So we have to be ready to sacrifice, lay down our lives, so that those who come in behind us can have a better way of living. It's just the way the thing goes, man. And all the stuff you're seeing out here, the injustice that you're seeing, the people rising up, instead of slamming these people and call them everything, let's reel them in and let's get that energy and that fire and let's guide them in the way of this war. Carmen just told y'all in the song, that's how war is fought. With the old people's knowledge and the young people's energy. We have to direct them in the war, people, so that they know who the enemy is and who they're fighting and how to fight it. So they just won't be willy-nilly fighting out here, that they have a strategy and they will go forward. And if you happen to fall in doing it, then that's so be it. I believe in leading from the front. I wouldn't ask somebody to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. And that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave that alone before I really go.
Yeah. I mean, I feel you what you're saying there, Mr. Jenkins. I feel you what you're saying, But, like I said, we have to be taught to who we're fighting. First of all, the enemy. You are your own worst enemy, first of all. You don't have any enemies. You're your worst enemy, because, first of all, when you're fighting someone and they're teaching you to fight someone, you'll be fighting that person all the time, all year long, for the rest of your life. First of all, you fight within yourself to understand that you're not an enemy. And I'm not having no war. You draw people, everybody know the tactics of war is to draw your enemy into you and make them do what you want them to do. You know, so really, that's why I say your best enemy is yourself first. You work on yourself first, and you understand where you know you're going and where you're heading. We ain't really fighting nothing because you can't beat no government. Ain't nobody never beat it, and you ain't gonna beat it. So that's who we're fighting, because we always having tactics on war on poverty and war on this. Poverty is a state of mind.
Why, I'm pretty sure that you got a lot of listeners' attention right there worldwide when you said that you're not going to defeat the government with your tactics against their tactics. Can you explain to these listeners why?
Because the government is bigger than you. The government made you, brother. You living up under what they say the government governs us, meaning that they have entitled to and embedded in you already how they want you to be. And if you get out of line with these certain things, they have people to keep you in contact. You see, like, what's the difference between a freedom fighter and a sniper? They both do the same thing. I become a freedom fighter when I'm from the government. I become a sniper when I want to kill somebody for the government. You understand what I'm saying? So it's no different. We used to say that back in school. What's the difference between a freedom fighter and a sniper? Well, the freedom fighter is the person who, when they sent out to go, he kills for a certain thing of the government. But they call him a sniper when he does the opposite. So they made him who they made him into already. So you just have that opposite side. So what I mean is you can't defeat a system that already you created, that you live within. You can't.
I hear you, but I'm going to respectfully disagree.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, there have been plenty of governments in the world that have been overthrown. Now, just to piggyback off what you're saying, though, am I want to be, and even if I thought I couldn't be the government, what would I rather be? Would I rather be a freedom fighter or a sniper? So that's the question I ask myself. If I can't win, does that mean I want to accept living how they feel like I have to live because they said so? Or would I rather just say, you know what, take me out and let me go on to the other side? You understand? I'm sorry. So that's how my mind frame works. Not what you embed. We understand what the embedded and all that stuff that's happened over the years. I understand all of that. That does not mean I have to accept that. That does not mean I have to stay in the confines of what they have me. And ultimately, if it costs me the ultimate sacrifice, which is my life, then guess what? Because I'm going to down my feet as opposed to living on my knees. I get on my knees to play with the kids and to pray. That's what I get, fix something. I'm not finna sit here and get on my knees so you can be the master and I can be the doggone sheep and I do whatever you tell me to do. I'd rather be dead myself personally.
Well, see, the thing is, I understand what you're saying too, but how can you defeat a system that was already created, that you was already in? You can't. The only way you have to fight that system was on the inside.
Well, I'm going to respectfully disagree. You can take that stance. I'm going to take the opposite.
Yeah.
So anybody that wants to accept that, then be my guest. I'm not one.
You're listening to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. War in the streets is the topic of discussion tonight. And what's your rant, ladies and gentlemen? While you're riding around listening to us, what is your rant on the war that's going on in the streets right now? Think about it. We'll be right back. To book me, TG Ryans, for any speaking engagements, hit me up on my email, soul21retail@gmail.com. That's soul21retail@gmail.com.
Take no little damn go.
Welcome back to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. We've been discussing war in the streets all night long. We still got a ways to go in this show. Now, there are probably some solutions to this madness, man. You know, there's a lot of war going on, worldwide. There's got to be some type of solutions. The key thing is everybody gonna use these solutions for the better? Are they gonna actually apply the solutions? Are they gonna use the solutions and try to rectify a lot of these wars that are going on? Some people may not. But there are some solutions out there, and we're gonna discuss them right now. I'm gonna start here with Malik Jackson. I know that you got something that you want to let these people know to rectify some of these street wars going on.
Man, solutions is everywhere if we apply the solutions. The thing about it, stop listening to the instigators and perpetrators. That's the main thing. And let the police, because they it's all political to sometime to kind of wipe you out. It's political, but to get a solution to the problem, you have to start working with people. You know what I'm saying? So if you got somebody in the community, if you can start working with the police. If it got good police out there, I'm not gonna lie and say that all police are bad, but if you got some in the community, you start working with them, you start opening up things in the community, you know, for the kids, because what it is, it's a lot of just mishaps that goes around. And when we say poverty, like I say, poverty again is a mind state, because it lies in the mind. And if we can get that out the mind and get the children to start thinking with some type of prosperity, and we'll cut the wars out, you know, stop bringing illegal guns in and showing, you know, a lot of that, and a lot of the music that's going on and talking about killing and war, and everybody want to be tough, because everybody ain't tough, you know. So the solution to the problem is start working with the people in the community and start building inside out, not outside in, but inside out the community, and give the children something to do.
Yeah, I feel like one of the solutions to the problem would be to get back outside in your neighborhood, wherever you're living. Go out there, shake hands with some of the new neighbors, re-shake hands and reacquaint yourself with some of the neighbors that have been living around you for the past 20 and 30 years. And, you know, go back out there, reacquaint yourselves with these people. Stop running in the house when they pull up, and they need to stop doing the same thing. You need to go out there, communicate, talk again. Just go outside and talk to them. Walk across the street when you see your neighbor and talk to them again and communicate. And then, you know, join in with some other neighborhood residents and communicate, and join in with them and talk on a day-to-day basis. Don't just be so quick to turn your head when you see them drive down the street. Wave them over, talk, lean up into the car window and say, hey, what's going on? Have you seen anything? They need to do the same thing with you too, and work together as a neighborhood team and structure. Work together as a team and stop allowing yourselves to be divided amongst each other. I know you're not going to get along with everyone, but the majority of you should try to reacquaint yourselves again and work together as a team and unify together and work together as a better unit. And pay attention to what's going on. Watch your neighbor's house. Your neighbor should watch your house. Watch for any suspicious activity going on. Talk to your neighbor that's getting ready to do something crazy. By you communicating to them, you'll find out that maybe they were going to go down the street and do something crazy. Maybe you can talk them out of it. Maybe you can tell them to get in the car, go with you, go get a beer or something and ride around. And you'll be surprised with just having a beer and talking your problems out with someone would do for you. And you'll find out that after you have an ice cold beer or a drink, you'll find out that you're not as angry as you once was.
I will agree with y'all, and I will agree with Mr. Jackson. Definitely has to start inside out. I definitely can't disagree, but my inside says start with yourself first. Mm-hmm. First off, start with yourself. Who am I? What am I, man? See, respect don't cost nothing, people. Respect don't cost nothing. Everybody wants to be respected, but we feel like we can do whatever and it's supposed to be okay. That's BS. You understand? We need to redirect our loyalties, our respect, and our love, man, with one another and ourselves, man, and realize that me and everybody else that I love is worthy of something, and we have to come outside ourselves to help build ourselves up together. Now, redirection of education, proper education, not just the 3 R's like the old people say, the reading, writing, arithmetic. I'm talking about education of self. Education of knowing what I'm good at and offering it, your services and your goods to the problem. If everybody bring what they got to the table, if you got chicken and they got rice and they got green beans and they got bread, then, you know, just because you got chicken, this person got bread don't mean you better, but now we can all eat and have a proper meal. You understand what I'm saying? We have to start redirecting the science of the mind, the science of the body. We need to be having teachers in our communities with our students who understand our students, who actually care about our students. Parents, start actually caring about your kids' education. Stop saying my child make A's, B's, and my child smart when your child is dumb as a box of rocks. You understand? Accept the truth. You know your child is bad. You know your child is disrespectful. You know your child around there cussing people out. Stop making excuses. In fact, you stop acting like them and they won't repeat. And then, you hear what I'm saying? Grow up and be parents. Let's stop being breeders, male and female. Yeah, because I'm one of those that's going to tell like, let's get all this BS out of our community. All this snitches get stitches and all this here. You know, it's amazing to me that the people who want to uplift, we want to tear them down. The people that's tearing down, we want to hold them up to the highest of being they just the best thing ever. It don't make sense. And we'll never get nowhere with that type of thinking. Now, people hearing my voice probably say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't really care. Might not agree with me. Don't really care. Prove me wrong. Show me where I'm wrong at. And I bet you 2 bits to a bottle of beer, you can't do it.
Well, you know what? I had to agree with you there, Mr. Jenkins. Yeah, you're right about that, man. We have to really just build in within our communities. And I believe that you have to start working with, too. You know, some of these police, like I said, you know, all police not bad. Some police want to, you know, work within the community. Like, check this out. What happened today? I was riding. I was taking my mother somewhere, and my cousin had a wreck. And I was like, man, I say, wow, that's her over there. So when I pulled back around, my uncle was over there, and he was talking. But the guy who I knew was the police was a pretty good guy. You know what I'm saying? I've been knowing him for a while. He works the community. He didn't give anybody a ticket, but he didn't give anybody a ticket. But like he was saying, you know, he said, hey, look, I'm gonna go and redo the thing and the scene for you, ma'am. And he said, I'm gonna even send you to someone who can waive that, you know, that $500 deductible for you. You know, I'm gonna tell you why to go in there, fix your car, and if your insurance is picked. So working with the brother, because he was actually telling me, you know how he was going to try to help her, and you know, and how things, you know, wasn't going to be too complicated. But working with the, you know, just listening, working with the person, and like you say, work with me. We made the thing come all, you know, it got all fixed right. So that's what I'm saying. When you start working with people, everybody's not bad. You know, and the thing about it, the people who always cause the trouble and the wars, like I said, is always be the ones who instigated, ain't never had no fight, ain't never shot nobody, ain't never did a damn thing. Excuse my French on that. But these are the same people that cause everything. What we used to call them in the neighborhood, the wannabes. That's who start everything. You know, want to be from here, want to be from there, want to be, yeah, that's right. So you have to start working with people and leave the wannabes, leave the wannabes, the instigating, the perpetrators alone in their own little section. And you go about working with you know, the people, like Mr. Ryan was saying, shaking hands with the neighbors, going to these meetings in your community, like going to the multi-purpose center, seeing what's going on in the community, seeing what they're building in your community, seeing what they're doing for the kids in your community, and be a part of that voice. Be a part of the voice. No, matter of fact, be the voice. Forget about that. Be the voice, and you will see where you would, you know, have your community going and where yourself can be going too.
Yeah, it just made me think of how I was at work about a week ago, and it was a young guy, and he's about 16, him and his mom. They was trying to get into part of the youth summer program. You know, we get them jobs and all this kind of stuff. So the mom pulls up outside. She has like a car blocked in because she's in the lane and not in the parking space. So everybody's running around trying to figure out who the car belongs to. We finally find the lady. Say, well, ma'am, you know, can you move your car? Somebody's trying to get out. Now, we didn't tell the car's name. We trying to find who she is. So the lady saying, ma'am, yeah, can you move your car so she can get out? So the lady just got like, well, I'm coming. I'm about to move my car. So the other lady got like, well, you ain't got to get, you know. So here come this thing. Her son come, they go outside. Now it's an argument between two sides. This lady and her son and about 4 or 5 people over here. So we trying to quiet down. They get in the car. The lady's in her car looking at them. Well, you sure need to act like a lady and blah, blah, blah. And her son is hanging out the boy like the Dukes of Hazzard. I'm a Pyru. I'm this, that, and other while they driving off. Now I started laughing. Now, the scene I laughed, it wasn't funny. It was quite sickening to my stomach. Number one, you're in the wrong. We didn't tow your car, which we could have done. We're trying to tell you to move so people can get out and go. You didn't have to sit there and try to debate with nobody when you was in your car and your 16, 15-year-old son hanging out of the car, cussing people, telling he a Pyru is acceptable behavior to you as a grown woman. But you want us to put your child to work? He don't have respect for you. So I'm supposed to put your son and trust him with my accounts to get out there at the hospital or whatever and work for these people? I think not.
Yes.
Sorry. If that's how you act with you, how's he going to act on the job?
Exactly.
I don't think I'm going to do that. But I'm saying that is not acceptable, people. I don't care how you slice that. That is not acceptable. How do you as a parent condone that? How do you accept that? First off, your behavior, then this is your child. Right. Really? And you let him go with that? And then you got people on TV like John Wall last night throwing up gang signs, and everybody want to come to the defense. He's my brother. Shut up. You know what the man was doing. He know what he was doing. This is a millionaire basketball player on TV chucking up gang signs, and people is okay with that kind of stuff. And then you don't see what the problem is. You understand? Your child know all the songs that come on TV, on the radio, but can't do the 1, 2, 3s of the ABCs. You understand? And we don't see a problem. It's a problem, people. And we need to fix it. But in order for us to fix it, you have to first recognize that it is a problem. You understand? And I'm also the Joe Clark mentality. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm about saving who wants to be saved. And if you don't want to be saved, I'll let you fall by the wayside. Somebody else can come waste their time or take their time to pick you up if they want to. But I'm about saving those who I can. I would not lose a class with 30 students and risk losing 25 students for 5 that don't want to do right. That's simple math. I won't do it. I will not encourage it. I will not condone it. And I will not be a part of it. Sorry.
You're listening to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Our topic of discussion tonight is war in the streets. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Is there a war in the streets? Think about that for a hot second. We'll be right back.
Hello, listeners. This is Arthur Jenkins, co-host of the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Your opinions, your comments are very important to me, so feel free to hit me up on my Facebook page, Facebook Arthur Jenkins. Thank you for your support. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you again.
Welcome back to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. We're discussing a war in the streets right now. Wherever you're living right now, whatever city you're in, you may be dealing with a war in your own streets, and that's what we're discussing tonight on this Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Now, you know, there are a lot of people that are having a hard time accepting the fact that there are wars going on in their neighborhoods. You have people that just moved into a certain neighborhood. You have people that have been living in a certain neighborhood for 10, 15, 20, and 30 years. And you talk to some of those people and they say, well, it's not a war. The war doesn't include me. It can't be a real war going on. And I have to serve notice on you, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in denial, you need to get rid of that denial right now, because there is a war going on in your streets, whether you like it or not. And I'm going to even take it a step further, and I'm going to let you know right now, you're a participant whether you want to participate or not. Let me explain that to you. A lot of you say, well, if there is a war going on, then it doesn't involve me. I'm not going to participate. Let me tell you something. You think that you can just pull up when you come home from work and go in your house, close the blinds, lock the doors, turn off the lights, and watch TV in the dark, and you're safe. And then you get up the next morning, go back outside, you're good to go before everybody else wakes up. But the truth of the matter is that people will come into your house right now. They'll kick down your doors right now, and they will pull you out if you've been hiding, and they will make you go to war and make you go to battle. So the best thing that you can do right now is accept the fact that there is a war going on in the streets, and that you are a participant whether you want to be a participant or not. And the best thing for you to do is to come up with some survival tactics. And guess what? We're going to give that to you right now. I'm going to start right here with Malik Jackson.
I tell you a good survival tactic. Somebody come to you and they try to pull you out, you put that pistol on. That's a good survival tactic.
Just first to the point right there.
Because you know why? Because first of all, if you want me to join something, you come down and you sit down and we'll talk about it. And if it's something that's positive, something that's growing, then I'm with it. And if it's something that's I'm not with it, you ain't finna force me to do nothing. You can either I'm gonna take the bullet or you go take it, and it's hey, that's just the way it go be.
So you basically saying if they come in there, they just getting shot point blank.
Well, just like I said, you know
about it, right?
No, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Just like I said, you know, if we could sit down and talk about something that's positive and that's gonna help the community, that's hey, I'm all for it. But if you go just trying to force me into something, because I ain't never been forced into doing nothing.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So my thing is that if we could sit down and talk about it, if we can't talk about it, then hey man, we go just somebody go get taken out, and that's the way it go be.
Pistol grip pump in his lap at all times, ladies and gentlemen. Malik Jackson just spoke the truth. Let's go to Arthur Jenkins.
Well, first off, let me apologize to Mr. Jackson for anything I may have said that offended him earlier, because I don't want the pistol on me, you understand? No. I come in peace, brother. No, I'm just kidding. But I understand it. I really do understand what you're saying. When all else is exhausted, you do what you have to do. But from the beginning, people, let's learn to love. You understand? Let's learn to enjoy each other. You know, that's where all of this stuff started coming. Like you say, it's really no way out of what you're in. You understand? There's no way out. So you accept your fate and you deal with it accordingly. And that's where my mind state is. So by accepting my fate, I understand that I'm in a turmoil, I'm in a battle. So I better arm myself with all the knowledge and understanding I can possibly gather Okay? I better come equipped, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and be ready for whatever war comes my way. And I better be ready to equip my fellow warriors with everything that I have to make them better warriors. And hopefully I'll be doing the same thing for me. And hopefully my fellow warriors are down with me like I'm down with them, and not ready to stab me in my back and take me out because they're getting a couple shillings from the enemy.
We got to unify, ladies and gentlemen. If you start to unify all over the world, then that's a survival tactic right there. You can unify. You can unify with the other people in your neighborhood, you know, and you can get together. You can communicate a lot. That right there alone is a survival tactic, knowing that your strength is in numbers, knowing that you're not out there alone. Because if there's a war, a street war, or some kind of war going on the street that you live on, or the street around the corner, and you have to drive or walk up and down these streets, and your kids have to walk up and down these streets, that's what we mean by you and them being participants, whether you want to be a willing participant or not. It's going on in your atmosphere, and it's going on in your surroundings, and it's going on in your environment. So the best thing that you can do is to communicate, know what's going on. Somebody can tell you, hey, I wouldn't go down that way. If I was you, go another way. Take an indirect route. Don't always come home the same way every night. Change up your routines a little bit. Stop letting everybody know your same routine. Leave a little earlier. Leave a little later. Go down another street. Go down another corner, and you know you're doing the right thing when the people start questioning you and they start asking you, hey man, I noticed that you start going the other way all of a sudden, and this and that. That's when you'll know that you're doing the right thing. Mix it up some. Stop having the same routine day in and day out, and change some things up.
Well, I can tell you another thing too. Move in the area where everybody else is good. That's what you do. Stop trying to be in an area where you know you almost got to fight and do all this here stuff. I love my people and all this here. You might do all that, because I do love my people. But I understand sometimes, ask yourself, do your people love you? You know what I'm saying? Why you treat me the way that you're treating me. So we got to bring the love back among ourselves, like Mr. Jenkins was saying. First, start with yourself. And then, two, you can also feed the community while you ain't got to be in the community, too, until they start acting like they supposed to act. See, for me running, I ain't never ran. And stop. You're not supposed to run. You know, you face things face to face, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna sit down and we're gonna be men about it. And the thing is that if it's something positive, like I said, we can make things work. But by you forcing something, oh no, ain't nobody gonna force anything and nobody to do anything. We all men.
Yeah, there's no way out of this. So the best thing you can do is come up with some survival tactics or move to a better environment. But even in that better environment, there's wars going on, because you could even have some racial wars or some other kind of wars going on. But keep up with your community and communicate and know what's going on wherever you are.
Right.
Well, let me just say this. I love my people too, man.
I do.
I don't always like them, though. You understand? And it's not that I don't like them. I don't like the way some of us carry ourselves and the things that we do. This is what I mean, people. My mother told me when I was 14, 15. She looked at me in my eyes. She said, son, I love you. You're my child. I love you. But I don't like you. I said it before. I was so dumb. I didn't even really understand the difference. So I was like, okay. I was too stupid to realize that my mother, the woman who carried and birthed me, just told me she didn't like me. I was too stupid to let that register to me. This woman just told me she don't like me. The only child she gave birth to that lived, and she don't like me. I realized a couple years later she was telling me she didn't realize who I was and the person that I was becoming. She didn't like that. So when I understood that, eventually some changes started to come about. You understand? If you are living out there, when I was a kid growing up, we used to go to school. We walk home from school. You might start out with 10 or 12 people. Sometimes there's strength in numbers. You understand? You walk home, and as you get closer home, some break off, and everybody get home safely. That's how we did that. We took care of one another. You understand? If it was a family that was hungry, we came together and we fed them. If they didn't have no lights, we came together and we got their lights on. See, we got to get back to this. See, I declare to you right here, right now, that part of we have the problem we have because integration has been one of the worst things that happened to the black community. Why am I saying that? Because it took away, we thought we had made it. We tried to be included with the people that did not want us. And we gave up control of everything. You understand? And now we don't do this kind of stuff no more. The stuff that we had to do to survive, we gave up. You hear people all the time, man, I ain't worried about them over there. That's their problem. I got my own stuff. You understand? Well, guess what? If you go buy a bag of chicken and some potato, they can have chicken and french fries for the night. It costs you $10, man, at best. If $10 gonna break you, you in a world of trouble right now. And if two people can't come together with $2 or $3 to help feed somebody, we really in trouble, man.
But you know what, Mr. Jenkins, I understand what you're saying. But you know what? We're talking about survival, and survival is good. But how long it takes to live being survival and for me to just start living the life that I'm meant to be living, and I have to don't look over my shoulder everywhere I go. You know, so that's what we're talking about. You know, you have these wars out here, like he was saying, maybe racial wars. But you know, you can deal with a racial war. You kill that shit with kindness. Excuse my French, but you kill it with kindness. Because I'm gonna be here. Because one thing about money is money. I don't move. It ain't such thing as no white community. Because if you want to talk about our community, you know what I'm saying, we say in the black community, what's in the black community? It's a black community with everybody who owns the economics in there ain't black. Okay. So I'll get tired of hearing a black community. It's not such thing as a black community. Ain't such thing as even a white community, because you got majority whites in that community, but you also got Spanish, you got blacks, you got Middle Eastern. Okay. So it's no such thing as community anymore. It's either you got it, it's either the haves or the have-nots, and that's the way it is. There's no more
that too. If the easy way to kill racial tension was with kindness, why is it not dead?
Huh?
If we could kill racial intolerance with kindness, why is it not dead?
It is dead. You know why? You know why you might not say it's dead? Because
it ain't.
No, hold on. You know why? Because you're looking. Because you're looking at the same thing with the same mental eye. If you look at it something different, like say for instance, you remember a girl that was in the 6th grade? Hold on. You remember a girl that was in the 6th grade? And you seen in the 6th grade, you might thought that she was like, oh man, you know, she won all that. She gets to the 9th grade, she done blossomed, she done did everything. You know what I'm saying? You're like, wow, that when you in the 6th grade. It's the same person, but you see different elements, you know, within her. So what I'm saying,
that has nothing. That's nature taking its course.
Hold on. But check it out. Listen to me. We look at things with the same mental eye. If you look at it and understand why a person is racist towards you, it ain't that they racist towards you, it's that they are the ignorant one, because they don't even know why they're racist. You understand what I'm saying? Some people.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
So what I'm saying is, we look at this black.
It's wrong. It's not dead.
This black-white issue have really crippled us from really making us the people that we are really supposed to be, and that's getting the cash, getting the money, and being the business people that we are meant to be. Because the other issues is making us get out the way and making us take our, getting our goals out the way. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is what people see on their jobs. They cry on their jobs, but then you still go to work. You know what I'm saying? You cry about this here, you cry about how but these people businesses. They don't have to hire you. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that we take a black-white issue and we saying, these people are racist, they hate us. But ask ourselves, do we dislike them too?
What does it have to do with racism being dead? I didn't say nothing about who got the power to hire other people. I didn't say that. I'm saying, how is that? What does that have to do with it race not being an issue? To say race is not an issue no matter what, it's an issue no matter what side it's coming from. Race is an issue. To say that it's not is delusional. It is an issue.
You know what? You're right about that. Let me tell you something. I was in Washington the other day, just going through that. I was hollering at a friend of mine, and I seen a white kid, Hispanic kid, and black kid. Boy, they were just playing, running, having a good time. And I say, wow, they don't even, I know they know maybe that different color or whatever, but they didn't see that. You know where racism comes from? When we get older and economics come in the way. Money brings racism. That was racism is not formed with people. I mean, it's thought of a people, but racism is brought when economics hit the picture. And I seen that from them little kids playing. They were just happy. They knew they probably was a different color, race. But we know when economics come in the picture and ownership, that's when racism kicks in.
Okay, just as long as you can just saying that there's some race. Okay, let's agree. Okay,
everything.
I'm good.
That's what racism really about. A race of people who own everything.
You're listening to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show, War in the Streets. Ladies and gentlemen all over the world, what do you think? You've heard it from us. Is there a war going on in these streets right now, wherever you are? You're listening to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our final thoughts for the night. Welcome back to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. We're going to get into our final thoughts.
Final thoughts is that, hey man, to be safe, you know what I'm saying, and understand that, well, people say it's a war going on, but like I said, you can't run forever. And just try to work with the people in the community. Work with yourself first, get yourself lined up, work with the people in the community. And then also, too, if the policeman that's trying to do right in the community, work with them, too, and see what we can do for the children, because these are our future.
I'll just say this. The war on drugs, the war on poverty, war on education, all of it was BS. All of it was false flags, people. The war is against you and I, okay, in the forms of racism, classism, socialism, and any other kind of ism you can name, placism and things of this nature. You see, most people, and let me tell you something, it ain't just black and white. I would agree with you there, Mr. Jackson, because there are a lot of people on both sides of that fence that's going to wake up and see themselves locked out one day. It's going to come down to the haves and the have-nots. I do agree with you there. Unfortunately, most of the haves ain't going to look like you and I unless something changed drastically and quickly.
No. Ladies and gentlemen, communicate with each other, communicate with people in your neighborhoods, whether you live in an apartment complex, whether you live in a home. Communicate, go out there, shake hands with everybody in your neighborhood. Find at least somebody that you can talk to. If you don't get along with everyone, find somebody that you can be close to in your neighborhood and communicate and let them know that you have their back, and hopefully that they'll have your back. It's been a pleasure. We hate to close out this wonderful, wonderful show tonight, but we gotta go. You know, want to give a special shout out before we leave to people from Alabama, Mississippi, Chicago, New York, and Miami, Florida. You're listening to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Our topic of discussion tonight was war in the streets. I'm your host, T.G. Ryans, and I was joined by Malik Jackson, my other co-host, and my other wonderful co-host, Arthur Jenkins. Tune in again next week with another hot topic for your discussion. It's the Soul 21 Street Radio Show signing off.